Whoa. All right, how's it going? One of the perks, I guess, I don't know if it's a perk, one of the things about being a YouTuber of mild renown, of a few followers, is that people want to send you stuff. It's usually stuff like kitchen supplies or hammocks or like things like lights or microphones, which are a little bit more pertinent, but still, I don't really want to talk about that sort of stuff on the channel very often. But sometimes it's stuff that's interesting, stuff that, yeah, maybe I would give it a try, or maybe some of you would. So I have a canned reply to those folks, the ones where I think that maybe I would give that lens or that gear of whatever kind a try. It's always basically the same thing. Yeah, sure, send it if you want, but know that I'm not gonna promise anything. I might not review it at all. If I do review it, I may not say nice things. I may give it to subscribers. I may never open it, ever. So you run that risk, but if you want to send it, you can. And people still often do send stuff. And so I've gotten some stuff over the last maybe 6 months that I haven't even touched or looked at. They've all been just boxed up, collecting. I don't know if you can see that. Some serious dust. But I get excited to try stuff like this. For me, it's not so much getting free stuff. For me, I struggle with motivation. I don't know if you guys are the same way, but for me, it's hard to consistently get out and shoot. That is actually the reason, one of the primary reasons why I started the channel to begin with, to have motivation to get out, to shoot. And this really helps, like having people send stuff, wanting reviews where I can look at something interesting and decide if it's something that I would like to shoot with, or maybe it's something I could recommend to you folks, something that would be interesting to you. To me, that's motivation to get out, to make a video. So if I can make a video out of something interesting, totally I'm gonna say yes to it. So like I said, I've got some stuff here. It has been sitting around and I have a trip. Finally, I'm gonna go on a trip. I haven't been able to say that for so long, like many of you, but I'm going on a short little weekend trip. I'll tell you more about that in a minute, but I decided, wow, what a great opportunity to just pull out all the stuff that's just been sitting, collecting dust, and take that stuff out and see if it'll work. So let's start with this box and push this stuff to the side. This was very interesting to me because it is the tripod that Thomas Heaton uses, I believe. So Gazelle, this is the Uprise. I like to shoot panoramics. When I do landscape, I don't do landscape very often, but when I do, I really love me some panos. So a tripod that provides a steady, or I guess a level foundation easily, is very, very important to me. I also don't like to fuss around. I don't like to use the legs to get the tripod level. It's too fiddly, I hate it. But this is a different way to solve a similar problem, to give you level, the ability to be level, but also, you know, panoramic panning with ease. So that's the promise. And this is the tripod, and it looks very promising. Nice carbon fiber. It's hard to see on film. You know, I watch Thomas Heaton's videos. I don't know if this is the exact one he uses, but you can't really see the quality. But this is not cheap Chinese stuff, right? This is good, like good quality. I'll tell you more as we go out and shoot with it. But everything feels really secure, solid, nice, light. And the main thing here is this guy right here that provides you the ability to, as I understand, oh, twist, there you go. So you can twist this, and then you got this little bowl that can level, and you've got the level right there. So the only problem I see is if your tripod head is thick, you can't see that level. But if you've got a tripod head with a ball on it, or a level on it, then that wouldn't be an issue. I'm not sure what this, oh, I see. Oh goodness. Don't know what that's about. But that's the first item that I'm excited to take on this trip. I might get some opportunity for some killer landscape shots, so I'm excited to have this on the trip. All right, next up we have probably the reason a lot of you are here, because I'm sure I'll put it in the video title because so many people have asked about this lens. These Viltrox lenses they're not bad. I've tried 4 of them now. 3, this is the 4th. This is the 56 1.4. So we're gonna give that a shot. I have not yet had a chance to do much with this at all. I've always been, you know, pleased with Viltrox. They've always done a decent job, and I predict this one will do great as well. I haven't yet watched any reviews on it, so a lot of you probably already know more about this lens than I do. But anyway, we'll give it a shot, and I'll show you what I'm able to come up with. But they are a company and a set of lenses that I have no trouble recommending. In fact, I do have, right now I'm sitting on a 23, 35, and now this 56. And I've told you guys before, I'm gonna give those away at some point. I still haven't figured out how or the best way to find a winner or 3 winners to give those away, but I will be giving them to you. So stay tuned. I still don't know how. If you have any suggestions on what would be a fun way to give those out to you guys, let me know in the comments. So that's the first lens that I'll be shooting on our trip, on my trip, the trip that you'll be accompanying with me on virtually. This is the next one, and I don't even remember. I think this is Pergear is the brand. They've sent me a few lenses now, and they are one of the masters of the affordable Amazon, you know, Chinese lenses manufacturer. And I've enjoyed every Pergear lens that I've shot with so far, absolutely. Though I can't recommend them for people who want optically perfect lenses. That's not what they provide, and that's not who they're for. They are cheap budget lenses, and they're still fun though, for the right situation. So this lens here is I think a 7.5 fisheye. Whoever packaged this up for me was nice and left a nice little fingerprint on the lens for me, so I appreciate that. It's a 7.5 2.8 fisheye lens. I do like me some fisheye lenses though, and we'll see if I can find some places where I can get some use out of this lens. It has some heft. It's a hefty metal lens, like most of these more affordable lenses. It has the clickless aperture. It's really stiff. It's got a solid stiffness to it, and I'm actually okay with that. When an aperture's too loose and also clickless, like these ones are, sometimes you bump them. That's not gonna happen with this one. It's interesting, they've got this kind of serrated style aperture ring. I think I like it. It feels really good and it looks pretty good. So, you know, we'll see how it is optically, but I really am genuinely excited to shoot with this affordable budget Chinese lens. Next up, we've got same story. This is a more affordable lens. This is a 35 1.2, and I swear have I not shot with this one? I guess I haven't. I've shot with the Pergear 35mm. Several of you have actually mentioned liking this one. So interesting. I actually think the Pergear lenses feel higher quality. I have to tell you straight off, just based on feel. This aperture ring feels way cheap and flimsy, but I almost prefer the clickless if they're gonna do this, because this just feels not good. And it feels, tolerances, that's one thing you'll see with these lenses, the tolerances are too loose, and I can tell that dust could get in there pretty easy. This is wiggly, loose aperture ring, but I have no idea what kind of image quality this provides, so that's what we'll be finding out. So that's the gear, the lenses that will be taken along on this trip. I'll only be using those lenses. That includes vlogging, by the way, as I point that X-T4 to myself, use that to both film myself and also to take some photos. So we'll see how that goes. But of course we need something to carry all that in, and that is where this comes in, Bagsmart. This is a more affordable bag, but it looked pretty nice. A bag that might actually work pretty well for someone who's on a budget. Yeah, so we'll see. see if this bag can cut it. 3 lenses, and will that even fit on here? I'm not sure. The problem with this bag already in this tripod is that the tripod can't hang down below. It's gotta get inside this pocket here. So that's probably not gonna work. We'll have to figure that out. Although I don't plan on doing some major hiking. So I do see some, you know, loose threads here and there, but it's got a nice look to it. Seems like it's decent quality. It's got a drawstring, help it in wet conditions, I guess, maybe. So this probably would just get in my way. Then inside we've got, looks like it's just a set of dividers to build out your bag with. Oh, I see. So it does zip from the back also, which is nice. Oh, I see. It only zips from the back so you can put like a laptop in there. Side access. To me, this is like non-negotiable these days. Bags need side access, and this has it. So I guess you can build your compartment, your photography space, such that you can get your camera in from the side. Yeah. Okay, Bagsmart. I'll build that out, get these lenses and my camera in there, and then we'll head out. Alrighty, we are en route to Moab, Utah, and as you can see, I've got my mountain bike here. I am headed, this will be the first trip that I will have done since, I'm pretty sure this is the first trip I will have done since the beginning of COVID. And for that reason, I am really excited. So what's happening, and the reason I have my mountain bike here on the back of the car, is that my friend, one of my best friends, he's having his 40th birthday celebration, and he invited me to meet him in Moab to do some mountain biking. So that's where I'm headed. 2 nights in Moab, 2 days of mountain biking. Photography is not necessarily the focus. Well, it's not at all for the first couple of days of this trip. But I am a little ahead of schedule, and I saw this beautiful little plateau here, the sun just skimming across them. I saw that from the freeway and decided to pull off and see if I can get a shot. There's not a very good angle from where I can get via road, so I'm gonna have to head that way on what looks to be some sort of primitive dirt road. I didn't want to take my vehicle on it though, so I'm gonna pop the mountain bike down, ride that way, and hope that I can get a decent composition from the angle, the vantage point that I noticed from the freeway. So that's the plan. So let's go, giddy up. Yeah, this is the way to go. None of this hiking crap. Get on a bike, get there in no time. Now, the only question is there a composition? You can see those beautiful spires and this dappled light. It's gonna come across it. I just need to find something interesting, an interesting way to compose this beautiful range of hills. I do like the S-curve in the road, though I wish I could get a little bit more height on it as it kind of snakes its way to those peaks. Obviously this fisheye lens is not gonna be, the best way to compose this, so. But then again, since I only have 2 other lenses, they might actually be too tight, but we'll see. The light is just passing by, so let's get this shot and get back on the road. did not see those boulders from behind that hill. Maybe I can incorporate those somehow. I am a fan of both this location and this lens to capture this location. So beautiful. I'm so glad that I spotted that on the side of the road. And I wish I could spend another hour here, but I don't have time. Got to meet my buddy. Got 2 more hours of driving ahead of me and mountain biking. But I will catch up with you again after the mountain biking trip, where I will have 24 hours to just ride home at my own leisure and stop at all these cool little places I'm seeing on the way out there. I'm kind of taking note on where I can stop on the way back when I have more time and I can take my time, and really looking forward to some nice photography on the way back. Well, that was a great adventure. 2 days mountain biking in Moab. It was exceptional. I highly recommend it to anybody who's looking for some adventure. But that is now over, and I have the long, arduous journey to get back home again. Now that journey could take me 3 different ways. And today's decision, this morning's decision, is which of those 3 ways is going to be the way that I go. In different weather, in different circumstances, the options, they're pretty incredible. One way back to St. George is down, dipping into Arizona, goes through Mexican Hat, goes through Monument Valley, it goes through Page, where we have Horseshoe Bend. Just some amazing, spectacular landscape opportunities that direction. The second one is also another epic landscape opportunity. You go through Escalante, through Bryce Canyon, and you can even go through Zion that direction. So that would have been also epic. However, the forecast is severe clear, and I really don't get excited about doing landscape in those locations with severe clear skies. Now, I don't mind severe clear at all when it's my more favorite type of photography, which is kind of small towny, anything that, taking photos really of anything that's not going to be there in another 5-10 years, stuff falling apart, stuff of an earlier time period. Yeah, I like that stuff too. And that stuff, I'll shoot that in severe clear lighting all day. So that's the third option, which is just to go through small towns, and I'll probably do that. But for now, I'm off to photograph some small towns, and I'm as excited as can be. And so let's get going. For all my talk of severe clear, I find myself in gray clouds and rain and wind going the other direction. I didn't bother checking the weather north, so that's okay though. I'm probably at one of the coolest little spots that I found, definitely in the top 10 as far as rural decay goes. I love this little town that I found. I don't know if you can even call it a town. It's Cisco, up right at the edge of the Colorado border, and there's a lot of little spots, little houses, little things falling apart like this one. And I love this little scene right here where you've got this little couch. All things considered, this little thing is holding together fairly well compared to everything around it, and I love how it all wraps around that thing, kind of like something out of Stranger Things. It's beautiful. So I'm gonna spend some time in this little, I don't know what this is, township, see what sort of shots we can gather at this wonderfully beautiful, ugly and beautiful at once location. I took shots of this armchair with all three lenses, but the shot with the 7.5mm 2.8 Pergear fisheye lens was my favorite. Not because this lens is anything special, but because of the way everything wraps around the subject in this particular shot at this focal length. The 7Artisans lens worked wonderfully well. I mostly shoot with smaller apertures in situations like this where there is plenty of light and I want everything in focus. And at those mid to large apertures, this lens was absolutely plenty sharp. I didn't get any of the chromatic aberration I was honestly expecting to see, and there weren't any strange color shifts either. And since I tend to shoot manual focus anyway when I'm photographing rural landscapes, this might as well have been a high-end lens costing many times more than this one does. But in these conditions, it's those longer lenses like this 56mm 1.2 Viltrox that really shine. When you have the space to work where you can get way back away from the subject and get that squared up compression that I feel lends itself so well to these shots, this was definitely my favorite lens of the trip. While I love shooting wide for most other types of scenarios, when it comes to rural decay and rural landscapes, I love the juxtaposition that a long, tight focal length brings. It seems to bring squareness and order to the chaos and degradation I'm seeing before me, and here again, there was no obvious image quality imperfections with these shots, no color shifting, no chromatic aberration. So in my book, this lens performed wonderfully well, and while photographing buildings isn't the best test of autofocus, I certainly found no issues with the autofocus at all during this trip. Had to stop. Finally, gonna give this tripod a shot and see what we can come up with. I've got the 7.5mm fisheye Pergear on here, so I can kind of encapsulate all of this structure, whatever this is, this cliff. Now, this tripod, it's interesting. As I said, you've got the little base, the dish that you can level, which is, it's beautiful, it's brilliant. But you do need some sort of head on here that has, I mean, while you can get it level very easily to do the panoramic part, you do need a head that will provide you that option. And this is a little one I've had for a while. Let me put it down. And this is where the wind got really bad and I can't hear anything that I said, but I was talking about this Coolhouda little tripod plate. This little plate comes separately from the head, and I replaced my three-legged thing head with this little Coolhouda. It's very affordable on Amazon, and the reason I like this pairing is because it provides, as you can see, it swivels left to right once you get at level. So you have those two places to level with the tripod and then with the little Coolhouda plate, and that allows you excellent ability to do the parallax, panoramic shooting. And now if panoramic shooting is not important to you, any tripod head will do. One thing I do like about the bottom of these, if you screw these in, they become the spikes. So that can be really nice. You either get the rubber or the spikes built in. Well, I finally got the sun that I was wanting, my sunny 16, severe clear lighting, and another phenomenal tiny town that is so full of beauty and rural richness that I feel like I can barely scratch the surface. It's almost overwhelming. Usually when I go to small towns, I'm lucky to find 2 or 3 shots that I feel like are really worth sharing and worth being proud of. But here, so far, man, it's been spectacular, and I've been here for about an hour, and I feel like I could go probably all day. Everywhere I turn my head is something inspiring to me. It's been so good, in fact, that I feel like maybe my original plan of hitting small towns nearly all the way back home, I don't think I need to do that. I feel like my cup runneth over, as it were, with just photos that I'm happy with, and maybe I've tapped enough into this sort of photo that I can focus on something else for the remainder of the trip. So I will finish up here, take a few more shots. I feel like I've gotten a really great breadth of material from each of the lenses that I'm looking at, but I want to head up a little higher in elevation and try to get some fall color on the way home, do a little bit more landscape work before I call it quits, and maybe even finish up earlier than I thought, but we'll see. In the meantime, here are some shots that I got here in the lovely Green River. Having a 7.5mm fisheye lens was really fun on this trip, and I took away more photos with that little Pergear fisheye than I thought I would. However, it's not without its imperfections. The edges of photos at any aperture will be soft, and it will give you a hard time with flaring. But aside from that, what a fun little lens. It can focus extremely close, and it can really open up your creativity. At $130 US, it's hard not to recommend picking this up for the interesting types of shots that it will afford you. But all things being equal, the Viltrox 5614 was the lens that I preferred to shoot with for the style of photography I was after on this trip. However, in this town, things were closer together, so at the tight focal lengths, it was much more difficult to get compositions that I was interested in. This is where that 7Artisans 35mm 1.2 helped me out, still providing a bit more compression to square things up compositionally, but not so tight that I couldn't still get everything in frame. And as I said before, the image quality of this lens did not disappoint whatsoever. I don't have a lot of daylight left. I am halfway home about, but I remember this dirt road that paralleled the freeway that I took to get to Moab on the way out there, and I remember that there was just a lot of great autumnal colors, some pretty landscape scenes. It's a dirt road. I'm not excited to be driving, I don't know how many, it's like probably 30 miles of dirt road before we get to the next town. But my goal is to find one good shot, one good autumnal landscape shot while we have sun, while we have daylight, and then we'll call it good. We will end with this last shot, hopefully. Hopefully I can find something interesting for you. I did not find any cool autumnal scenes that I was trying to find, and I'm just about out of light, but I did find these cool tunnels, and I felt like maybe I could do something cool with this fisheye lens and these tunnels. So we'll try. Turns out these tunnels were an excellent way to close out the trip, and while the fisheye lens was excellent for capturing the beauty of these structures, I was also able to find a couple compositions with that 7Artisans 35mm lens I was happy with as well. And finally, on the way out, I spotted one last scene as the light faded over the mountains that lend itself well to that 35mm APS-C focal length. If only that lens handled flaring just a little bit better. But that's all I've got for you. Thanks for following along, friends. And if you've made it this far and you're interested in winning one of these lenses, I'll eventually be giving all of these away. These are lenses that I've been given from manufacturers to review over the last year. Please leave a comment below letting me know you stayed till the end, and I will add your name to the hat and announce a winner in the next few weeks. But until then, remember to do good with your cheap and expensive lenses, and we'll talk to you again real soon.